Wait,
All
we're
right.
rolling?
We're rolling now.
We're rolling!
Oh, we're rolling.
We're rolling!
Passyunk podcast.
Yeah, keep rolling, man. Are we actually rolling or are we not?
We're actually rolling.
I believe we're actually rolling.
I don't think that sentence even made sense. Are we actually rolling or are we no?
No.
You just keep shortening that stuff. No, we're not rolling.
Yeah, we are.
Right, okay, so we are recording.
Pod, this day Yunk Life pod. This day Yunk Life pod. That Yunk Life pod. That Yunk Life pod. That Yunk Life pod. Living that Yunk Life, baby.
Welcome to the Passyunk Avenue podcast, otherwise known as the Yunk Life.
Welcome to the Yunk Life.
Welcome to the Yunk Life Yonkers. That's what we're going to call you because we don't know what else to call you. So we're just going to call you Yunk Lifers or Yonkers or Yonkers or Yunkadunkers.
Yeah, they got it. I think they
there's
understand.
so many different ways we can call our audience. If there's anybody out there actually watching, please let us know what you would like to be called.
But we're going to call them Yunkers anyway.
Yeah. Well, the
They can
Yonkers-
let us know,
I
but
think
we're
the-
going to call them Yunkers anyway.
I think the Yonkers can be the listeners, and then for the ones that have the misfortune of looking at our beautiful faces, we can call them peepers. Peepers.
So this is Gaz, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Gaz.
My best friend in the world and one of the craziest people I've ever met.
Am I your best?
Oh, you know you are. Shut up.
You just made me blush. That's so cute. No, you're my best mate too. We're best friends. If nobody knew that, we are best friends. We've been through quite a lot. And we're going to share as many crazy stories of the stuff that we have gotten up to. Most of it always starts and ends with me doing something really dumb.
And lots of it starts and ends at Passyunk.
Definitely, for sure. Like how I almost fell through the walkway coming into Cleveland Street today.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, here we are. We're recording at the original location, Cleveland Street, which was built in 16 blah, blah, blah. And something's always falling apart. So today, when we got here, the front steps had completely shattered into about a bajillion pieces.
Yeah.
Gaz actually had an Eagles uniform on, but it was so covered in dust after he fell through the floor that we had to put that cape on him.
Yeah, and now I am a superhero of sorts. You know how like a superhero has an origin story about how they become a superhero.
Yeah.
Spider-Man gets bitten by a spider. Superman comes from another planet. Batman is really rich.
Right, I get it.
That's how I became the superhero that you see before you right now.
Yeah,
I don't know what my name is.
we'll figure that out as time goes on, I think.
Yeah.
You have to grow into your superhero
Yeah.
name.
So all I did was just fall through a glass.
Yunk
roof.
Man.
Yunk Man.
There you are.
I do like that. I am Yunk Man.
No, don't say anything yet because we're just introducing ourselves right now. We're going to completely obliviate any semblance of normalcy by the end of this podcast.
Semblance and normalcy. 2 words I didn't know existed and now I know exist.
So I'm Jessi and this is Gaz and this is the Yunk Life, the Passyunk Avenue podcast coming at you from Cleveland Street, the original location here in London. Probably should tell you a bit about who we are and why we know each other and why this place is going to be so important to you by the end of all this.
Yeah, and let's not forget our producer on the other side here, Stubby Stub.
Yo, jabronis.
His name is actually Stub. He has no other name, so he's just called Stub.
Like Prince.
Yeah. Or is it do you prefer Stubbs?
Usually not plural, but I get pluralized quite a bit when people meet me.
Singular stub.
Yeah.
Where did the name Stub come from? I've always wanted to know this. Am I allowed to know this?
Well, when a daddy stub and a mama stub really love each other.
Yes.
So Stub came to us as just a regular at a Passyunk, which is what happens in this place. Once you start, you can't stop. The Passyunk life just chooses you.
Oh yeah. Usually after like several beverages, and then we end up hiring you and all that kind of stuff.
So,
Wait, how did I get a job here?
well, that's what I was just going to say.
Oh, yeah.
Gaz and I come from very different places in the world. I grew up just outside Philadelphia. Gaz grew up in Manchester.
Well, I did grow up in Manchester. I actually was born in Dover.
I thought your dad told me he found you on a rock in Cyprus.
Well, he told me several different stories. My past is of multiple choice. I was found under a rock in Cyprus.
Under it.
Yeah, I was delivered by the milkman one morning, and they just took pity on me. So that's where I got my real name is Gary with 2 R's, which is a dying breed of a name because nobody's called Gary anymore unless you've got 1 R, but I've got 2 R's. So if there's any other Garys out there, let's join forces and take over the world. But we'll get to that.
I'm
Is
Jessi with an
eventually.
I, so
Yeah.
same deal. It's very rarely Jessi with an I.
Yeah, but that's short. But that
It's short for Jessica.
yeah. fits
But
in
most
Jessica.
Jessicas go IE if they're a girl. Yeah.
But why? So this is always something that people ask. It's like, why did you get named after anybody?
I'm named after the Allman Brothers song, Jessica.
Which one's that again?
Well, I forgot your English, so it's the theme to Top Gear.
Hey!
I mean, if you ask my father, his name was Jesse. I was named after him. You ask my mother, Allman Brothers song. I
Nice.
go with that one. Yeah, so Gaz grew up over here. I grew up in Philadelphia. When I first moved over, I just took a pub job to kind of keep myself occupied. And Gaz worked at the pub across the street.
Yes, I did. I think the reason why we want to talk about this though is because like we want to look at the differences and similarities of the places that we grew up in, or where we grew up, how we grew up, and why that made us. And then for some odd reason, the universe threw us together at this pub in Camden, and we became the symbiotic. See how I use that?
Oh, that was a big word.
Look,
Well done.
I'm doing this like really sort of like. I feel like I'm levitating.
It's
what I
the
mean?
superhero
Yeah,
powers
this is
coming
my
out.
TED talk.
That's very corporate speaker of you guys.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
like
yes.
it. Yeah.
Oh,
This is
God,
my
no.
TED
I
talk.
hate that word corporate. Every time I hear it, I feel like, a body part falls
I
off.
think that's why we're all here instead of behind a desk, right?
Yeah, probably. And like, so I think what we want to talk about, just to get people to know who we are, is just tell them about who we are and all the crazy stuff and how we ended up here at Passyunk Avenue. Probably already said that, but whatever. I'll say it again. You know what I mean? Is there an echo in here?
I think that the long and short of the story was I took over the management position. You were allowed to stay for a lock-in, which
Yep.
for our American listeners, sometimes pubs let you stay afterwards if you're an important person.
Yeah.
I just assumed Gaz was important. Turned out he just worked across the street, but I think we've been friends ever since then.
Right. What was it that made you think I was important? Because I've never felt important in my entire life.
Well, you were friends with the manager before me,
Yeah,
so
Rob.
she had let you stay. No, Mariana.
Oh, Mariana, yes.
Yeah, you'd stayed with her. She had let you stay for a lock-in in the past, and so I just assumed you were important, and I'd let
Do
you
you know
stay.
what, right? From my point of view, I remember hearing about how this was like, an absolute honor. No, it was. Like, if you were invited to stay at a lock-in at the door. Are we allowed to say the name of the pub?
I mean, I'd rather
No?
not, but
All right, okay.
we already did.
Okay, well, make sure you mark that off. We're not, just bleep it
We
out.
can fix that in post.
Yeah, we can fix it in post. We'll fix everything in post. But if you got invited to stay for a lock-in, it meant that it was a special moment in time where you were accepted into this community of misfits.
Well, kind of similarly, I had just moved here and I had no friends. So that little group of misfits, the island of misfit toys, as I used to call it, they were my first friends. You were my first friends. So it kind of makes sense.
You picked a hell of a group of friends to be friends with.
I mean, for what it's worth, half of them still work for Passyunk. So I think I probably chose pretty
Yeah, we
wisely.
did drag them all the way over here. But yeah, I vaguely remember that night of just having a really bad shift, coming over and having a beer, because we always, in fact, the bar that you worked at was the only place that stayed open later, so like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
before I had to jump on a train and go all the way back to South London,
Yep.
sleep for 3 hours and then come back and then just do it all over again.
When I first met you, I just called you Charlie for weeks because I didn't know your real name and you reminded me of Charlie from It's Always Sunny in
Right.
Philadelphia.
Now, that again was another honor. I was like, just going, what? I wonder what it was about me that made you think that I was Charlie.
The volume of your voice.
You think I'm allowed talking?
And you used to be a lot screechier back in the day, like
was.
Charlie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can you do an impression of me when you first met me?
No, but I can't think of you being angry. I just picture the story of you like getting all the Charlie work at the pub that you worked
Oh,
at.
you mean the mouse stuff.
I do mean the mouse.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely don't say the name of that pub.
No, definitely won't say that. But yes, I had a lot of experiences with handling or battling, I call them battles, with mice or rodents. Just
The king of the
Yeah.
rats. See
Yeah,
what
the
I
king
mean?
of the rats,
With Charlie, king of the
Are
rats.
you talking? You're probably talking specifically about the time when I got like attacked from the top of the stairs when I went to go and get
A
the
mouse
sausage.
came sailing at you from
Yeah.
the top of the stairs.
And I wasn't
and
sure
no
if-
one believed you.
I was wondering. Yeah, well, it is my own fault because I totally set myself up for this because I remember I had a sausage roll in my coat pocket, which
like you do.
Yeah, which I left downstairs in my coat to eat towards the end of the shift. So I went downstairs to get my sausage roll, and I was walking up the stairs, and I just heard this screech, like, and this giant rodent with like anchor tattoos and everything, just leaped at me from the top step. And I remember it was like, he was like, and he hit, and I just went, no! I moved my sausage roll out of the way. He hit me in the shoulder, and then he like tumbled down the stairs, went to run through the door, and he went, like that, and then ran off. And then I screamed so loud that I ran out onto the floor, and the two girls I was working with, they were basically like, what? What's going on? What's going on? And she went, a giant rodent just leaped at me and tried to eat me. And they went, yeah, right, Gaz. That's not true at all. And they didn't believe
You
me.
can see why I thought you were like Charlie. That is a very Charlie thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. And like nobody believed me for ages. I don't understand why. Probably because I told everybody I was adopted.
Yeah,
so Jessi,
probably.
did you actually call him Charlie?
I just avoided calling him any name for a
Okay.
while. But when I referred to him to other people, I called him Charlie.
All right. So that's a very English thing, someone misknowing your name and not correcting them.
Yeah.
My best mate in London, I actually called him by the wrong name for about 6 months when we first started hanging out.
What were you calling
And
it?
he only corrected me because we were going to an event where I would meet his family. And he's like, oh, you actually have to call me by my proper name or my mom's going to be really pissed.
Wait, you went 6 months?
It was about 6 months.
What a polite...
I had a friend, I only remember people by what they drink. So I had a friend in America at one of my bars that I just called her Wild Turkey because that's what she drank all the time. This lovely lady, Gloria, she was a librarian. I know her name now. But it took 4 years of being friends and having Thanksgiving together where we had enough martinis that I finally had the nerve to say, I don't know your name. I call you Wild Turkey. And she said, keep calling me that, honey. I was like, don't mind if I do.
Well, then that's pretty... Well, I mean, the word Charlie over here means a completely different thing. It's code word. It's code word for something. So, yeah, maybe you put two and two together thinking, oh, I'm going to call him Charlie because he looks like...
No, there was definitely not that much thought put into it. I just thought you looked like the guy from It's Always Sunny. And
there we go. Yeah.
you had a beard and you were loud.
Yeah.
So then, after we've become friends, obviously, I left that job because I heard Passyunk Avenue was opening.
Yeah, I
And,
remember this, yeah.
I used to live on Passyunk Avenue, so it kind of felt like fate that this place was opening, and I felt like they needed me.
Was this the easiest job that you've ever interviewed for?
My very first interview, I was nervous as hell. I dressed myself all up wearing some Catwoman boots and like...
You dressed up as Catwoman?
No, I just had Catwoman boots on. I looked
hired.
professional with Catwoman boots on. Then I met JP for the first time, and he brought me here to Cleveland Street, which was a construction site. Let's keep in mind we're wearing tall heels here. The kitchen didn't even have steps yet. So I, in my Catwoman boots, in order to impress JP upon JP that I can handle it, climbed down the steps, the ladder that was the steps in the kitchen, wearing the Catwoman boots and a skirt. So that was my first interaction. My second interaction, we met with Sam, who's been our chef since we opened, myself and JP and Sam. And we met in a coffee shop, very civilized. And as JP was walking up, he had a tray of teapots and different kinds of tea and spilled it everywhere. So the three of us spent our first 30 seconds together screaming obscenities because we were covered in boiling water. So that probably should have been an introduction.
Like an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Very much so.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, you and I joined the team really easy, really early on, I think, right? You were one of the first ones as well.
Well, I was one of the first ones. I think, so it was you, it was Teo. Shout out to Teo over at Kensington Church Street.
Our newest location.
Our newest location in Kensington.
And then Rob,
Church Street.
who is the GM at
Yeah, but
Waterloo.
did Rob come afterwards?
Rob came pretty quickly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd say we were only open about a
I
month or
can't
two.
remember. Well, Rob used to be my boss at the pub that I worked in Camden.
I basically just poached all the cool
You
people from
did.
Camden and brought
You
them
pretty
here.
much did, yeah. I don't even remember how it all came about. Maybe
I know
was
everything
drunk.
about this place seems like fate. It just all kind of happened.
Yeah.
So
I can't remember how I agreed to it. I think I just came down.
I don't think I gave you a choice.
I
think I said you have to work here.
I remember my first shift here. I was here for about an hour. I helped move some bottles and then I left. Because I went to...
Very
'cause I
helpful.
I went to watch a theatre show.
Huh,
Yeah.
cool.
Because I was like, whoa, this is cool. Thank you. I got to go.
So JP started this place basically because he, like myself, is from South Jersey, which Gaz has had the honor of visiting.
Mm-hmm.
Just outside Philadelphia. We
Yep.
both have deep family roots in Philadelphia. We're both crazy sports fans. So the group of people that he gathered, we were all very passionate about Philly anyway. And we basically built this first one from nothing. You could tell by the setup of it still. Like, we really had to just fit our ideas into a building that already existed. And I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah. I think what I like about working here, or when I first started working here, is that I was allowed to be myself, which a lot of people would find a long time to get used to.
Well, I was going to say in England in general, they kind of repress that you in your personality.
Loud, no filter.
Very stiff upper lip going on over here. Whereas in Philadelphia, we talk to everybody and you kind of suit that.
Yeah. I got to wear a monocle.
When did you wear a monocle?
Oh, I don't know, actually. I might have. I'm not sure if I'm making that up.
I'm pretty sure you made that up.
Oh, this might be a dream.
Okay, that's weird.
This might be a dream.
So we met. We went to Philadelphia together before this place opened. So you actually got to see what you were getting into ahead of time.
Yes.
Had your first cheesesteak.
Yes. Again, another moment where I felt honored.
Go on.
I'm not kidding. I don't think you realize just how much of a high importance. I thought you were like the queen of Camden.
Oh, I was.
Not kidding.
You weren't wrong.
Like, I thought like when I became friends with you, it was literally just like, oh my God, I've been accepted by this really, the popular girl likes me.
Somebody told me yesterday that when they first met me,
I think
the
level of Queen of Camden was Vivian Westwood and then Jess.
No, but seriously though, I remember that's what it was like.
I am way cooler than Vivian Westwood. Thank you very much.
You don't want to be friends with everybody, right? I guess.
No.
Yeah. You got to, pick your friends wisely and all that kind of stuff. And you picked me.
And you were the first person I brought home to the family, aside from my husband, of course. But you were the first one to come and visit my family in Philly.
The first friend. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So when you invited me to go to Philly with you and Sam, your husband. Hi, Sam. Love you, Sam. Hi. Again, another moment of high honor. I was like, I just going, why out of all these misfits and weirdos have I been chosen to go over there? I was essentially...
You answered your own question. Misfits and weirdos. That's what I'm into.
No, it was great. It was awesome. First time, I think, was it the first time I've been to the United States? I don't think so. Definitely first time.
No, because you had told me you'd been to Hendrix's grave. So you went to Seattle to visit family at some point before Philly.
I did, yeah.
But Philly was your first adult experience in America, I'd say.
Yeah. Definitely. Out of the diapers, straight on a plane, beer in hand. There you go. Absolutely.
Probably should have kept the diaper after that trip.
Yeah,
the amount we drank.
Oh yeah. Well, if we're getting to that story, then yeah, we can certainly say it. I don't care. I'm not ashamed. And I didn't really have much of an experience or know what Philadelphia was like. I didn't even know where Philadelphia was actually. In fact, the only thing I knew about Philadelphia is the cheese.
Yeah, which is not from Philadelphia.
So where's it from then?
New York. I think the dude's family was from Philadelphia, so he called it that, but it's not from Philadelphia. And that's the first thing English people bring up when I say I'm from Philadelphia. Like the cheese.
Oh.
Not at all.
Yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense. Why call something Philadelphia?
The next thing English people insist on doing when I say I'm from Philadelphia, they have to sing me the entire Fresh Prince theme song.
Right.
Not one verse, the whole thing. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Yep, West Philadelphia, born and raised, know all about it. Thank you.
Well, what if someone just came up to you and just started punching themselves like Rocky?
I mean, that would be weird.
Drago!
I want to tell the story about your first cheesesteak.
Oh, yeah. Okay, right. Well, let's get to that because the journey to Philadelphia was actually, it's a story that has to be told.
Go.
So we get to the airport and we get on the plane. We think it's going to be one of these nice, sophisticated flights. But then we were on it, and there was nobody else on it.
No one else on it. Empty flight.
I basically, my first 24 hours in Philadelphia, if you also include the 24 hours that I was in Philadelphia, with the time difference of starting in England, I think I was probably drinking for a grand total of 10 days.
Something like that.
You see how quickly I did my maths then?
Yeah.
I am getting better. I'm getting so much better at maths. Yeah. So basically started drinking on the plane. No idea why. It wasn't something. Oh, you were really sick.
I was real sick.
Oh, yeah. That wasn't fun for you.
Well, it was funny in that I got on the plane. Luckily, it was empty. Had 3 seats to myself. Passed out for a good 3 or 4 hours, remember?
Uh-huh.
And then woke up to find you two who the flight attendant had pitied because there was no one else on the plane. And she just kept bringing U2 alcohol.
Heineken's. It was Heineken's. Stubby Heineken's.
I believe I woke up and found U2 watching Creed simultaneously with headphones.
Yeah, we did
matching.
that. We did that
Very
thing.
Philly.
We did that thing where
The film, not the band.
we did that thing.
The film.
We did that thing where we went. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh no, you're like once. Oh no, we got to start again. Okay, back to the beginning. Wait, 3, 2,
11
1.
empty Heineken cans 3 hours into the flight between two of them.
Ledge.
There was me on the aisle seat because I always take the aisle seat because I hate sitting on the window seat just in case the wall blows out and I've got something to grab onto. That's why I sit on the aisle seat. Yeah, very weird thought. I know. I always have to sit on the aisle.
Okay.
I'm just like going.
I have to sit on the aisle because I don't like to ask people to move when I want to go to the bathroom. I'd rather not.
Because it's what you see in the action movies. You know what I mean? The plane wall goes out and loads, and the guy sitting in the window seat just goes no. The guy sitting in the.
Wait a minute. So you volunteered my husband to be that guy? Thanks,
No,
dude.
I didn't tell him this straight up. You know what I mean? It's just like.
Well, now I know.
Whereas if you sit in the aisle seat, you can do that thing where you go and then grab like the bottom of the seat opposite, and then your legs flail in the air like. And you look like Harrison Ford from Air Force One.
Will you please talk about cheesesteaks?
Oh yeah. So then getting off the plane was again just another experience of just like, cool, let's drop all our shit off. And I just swore. That's one swear word this whole time that we've been going.
Demerit.
Demerit?
I don't know. I was just trying to think of.
Don't.
It's getting.
No, it's not getting. Apparently, it makes you really intelligent. Which is probably
you've even got that fact
because now that I've said it once, I'm going to get more intelligent the more I say it. Anyway, so we get to the Benjamin Franklin Hotel, named after Benjamin Franklin.
Imagine that.
So, why is it called the Benjamin Franklin Hotel? Benjamin Franklin went to dropped all our shit off, went to the bar, and then proceeded to drink more. So by the time I woke up the next morning, am I going to tell a story?
Are you going to tell
I'm going to tell the story. I might as well do it. Well, I got to meet all your friends over in Philly.
Right.
And then after meeting your friends in Philly, I finally realized why you were friends with me. No, seriously, because I was just going, wow, they're just as crazy as me.
That's my criteria. I'm looking for the craziest people.
Yeah.
That's who
it's a great thing to be drawn to. I think crazy, stupid, and funny because I am
mainly funny.
Yeah, I am the funniest guy you've ever met, right?
All right, be cool.
Yeah.
Talk about cheesesteaks.
I look cool with my okay. So basically, I came back. I drank so much. I've been drinking so much that I woke up in the middle of the night and I peed the bed.
I woke up simultaneously. We were sharing the room. Two separate beds.
Yeah.
I was sharing the room. And I woke up to find him gathering the sheets and throwing them in a trash can in the corner.
And this was a small trash can as well. Like, I don't know how. Now, when I say I peed the bed, it wasn't just like I woke up and there was like there was a Gaz-shaped piece. Like literally like like the whole shape.
Like a chalk
you could
outline.
See the chalk outline like of my head, my arms, my legs, everything. Like I also know I was mortified.
This is a fancy hotel that my sister's jerky ex-boyfriend was paying for.
Yeah.
So I really wasn't too bad about all of it.
Yeah, but my God, I was mortified because I was just like, I've got these guys sleeping right next to me. I've got the rest of the family next door, and I am covered in pee. My own pee.
Okay, so we survived that.
Yeah.
All good.
The only way for me to get over the shame of that happening was to have a shower, obviously.
First and foremost.
Was to have a shower, just straight up admit what I did to Sam and Jess, who you guys knew. You were doing that thing where you're just like, Gaz is doing something weird, but we're going to pretend that we're asleep and see if he admits it in the morning. And I did.
I don't think that's true. I think I remember saying, "What the F are you doing?"
Yeah, it was like when you catch a spider, like just nothing. I'm not doing anything.
Exactly nothing.
I'm not doing anything. What are you doing? We were sleeping until we saw you being weird.
So you can imagine the hangover that follows this for Gaz.
Bad.
And what solves a hangover?
Cheesesteaks.
Gotta have a cheesesteak. So I brought Sam and Gaz to my favorite cheesesteak place in Philly, Jim's on South Street, which recently reopened after a fire. So well done, guys, and getting reopened. Happy to hear it.
Didn't they find like loads of ancient stuff in there? Not like mummies or whatever, but like, you know, there's like a part of a wall that they found that is like from. Did you not read this?
I didn't read
I thought this would be something that you'd be into.
Are you mixing up the story of Ben Franklin's house in London?
No. Because it burnt down, when they were rebuilding it, they found like underneath the tiling.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Like,
I can't wait to read about
some sort
that.
of like, you know, like old school mosaic. I can't remember.
I'll check it out. That's really cool.
If anybody from Philly that knows the guys from Jim's know about this story, let us know what the hell that I'm trying to talk about. I'm pretty sure I didn't make this up. I'm pretty sure I didn't dream it. I read something about it. They found something like within the like the foundation.
That's really cool.
Like,
I mean, Philly's ancient, so it doesn't surprise me that
I'm
they'd
pretty
be
sure they
finding
found
stuff.
something. I'm surprised you didn't know about that.
I'm surprised I didn't know
You're
about
on the
that.
ball when you find stuff out like that.
I know.
That's crazy.
I've been in London too long.
Yeah, but Jim's,
so we go to Jim's to have our hangover cheesesteak, and who do we meet but the Fonz?
Hey.
Oh, I was going to say Will Smith, and he sang you the theme song to Fresh
yeah,
Prince.
the entire
Can
thing.
you imagine?
No, but the
That would
Fonz
actually
was
be
there.
awesome.
All
Henry
right.
Winkler.
Nice.
And then he slapped me in the face.
We were all
Did he
so
really?
No.
we ordered our cheesesteaks, but we were all, including the staff, so excited that the Fonz was there that eventually they forgot to make our cheesesteaks.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. Gaz and Sam got a picture with the Fonz, which I took.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm taking the picture, the Fonz goes, "Wait a minute, she with you? I want to take a picture with her." So I got a picture with the Fonz.
See what I mean?
too.
Do you see what I mean? Like the
Very
draw,
cool.
like how, what Jess draws like from like.
All we're proving is that Henry Winkler is as weird as we are.
Henry Winkler knew who you were. He's like, aren't you this girl from Camden that everybody really likes? And
You know, I do get that now with Passyunk being as big as it is. I'll be on the tube and people will be like, "Passyunk chick."
Yeah, I get cheesesteak.
They don't say chick. They say bird, maybe.
I
I don't
got cheesesteak guy a few times.
Did you get cheesesteak?
Yeah,
See?
He's like, "You the cheesesteak guy?" He got me a free table at the
Dope.
during
Minor
COVID.
celebrity status.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
And it was a big
D-list
deal.
celebrity.
This is a funny story, actually, because I got given the table. It was one of those big, this was during COVID. It was just after they were allowed to let people in, and you could only sit people down at like, you know, one table. And this was one of those big, long ones that you could fit at least 8 people on there. And so I walked in, and the guy that was sort of managing the door was just like, "Are you the cheesesteak guy?" And I was just like, "Yes, I am the cheesesteak guy." And he was like, "Oh man, how you doing?" It turns out he worked at one of the bars just around the corner. He used to come in
that's
here
funny.
all the time. And so he sat me and Mandy down, and we were just hanging out on this big 8-person table. Then this other dude comes through who's got like 8 of his friends. Basically, he could have had this table all to himself, but the server gave it to me and my girlfriend Mandy, right?
Because
But
you're a
then
cheesesteak man.
Because I'm the cheesesteak man. But
He wears a cape.
I wear a cape, right? But the whole time that this exchange was happening with this dude that came in, because he brought in all his friends, I was like, I recognize this guy. So he was of celebrity status. And I was just like, is that? Oh my God, it is. I found out that it was Sir Keir Starmer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He came in and he was looking for a place to take all of his buddies, but because of the COVID rules, he wasn't allowed in. But he could have had my table where I was sitting at because there was
But
8 of
no,
them
because you're a
and 2 of me.
cheesesteak man.
I got the table because I was a cheesesteak guy. And Keir Starmer got turned away. Sorry, Keir.
So not
Maybe-
only was he turned away from illegal parties happening when the former prime minister was in office,
Yes.
you also got him turned away from that table.
because
Not
of
invited
I
to
was
any
the
parties.
cheesesteak guy. When someone called me a cheesesteak guy, I just imagined like, you know, maybe I should start walking around like smothering myself in whiz.
Well, like that's a great story. And you talked about like what, you know, going to Philly for the first time and being with Jess and her friends and family is really cool. But like that connection between like, you know, being here in London and all of us meeting up somehow because of Passyunk here, and you know, also having like the you know, the brotherly love thing with Philadelphia, and it all kind of coalescing here, you know, across
It's
the pond, as we
amazing
say.
what
which
this
is really,
place, the
really cool.
relationships that Cleveland Street seems to garner
Yeah.
is really amazing. Like, for instance, we have one of our regulars, Alex Pugh, also our sports analyst whenever we need one. When she first came in for an Eagles game, she did work here as well. This place just sucks you in. You can't leave once you're here. So she came in with 1 or 2 friends. I sat her at a table for an Eagles game. A few people were sat next to her and a few other people next to that. And slowly those 3 tables just became one. And all of those people are friends to this day. And that was 7 years ago. They come in every single Eagles game.
Wouldn't it be easier if we just had one giant table throughout the restaurant.
Like a banquet hall?
Yeah.
Like a Viking
banquet
mead hall?
Yeah. Table for 15, please. Sure. Any more room? No.
Well, considering the size of Cleveland Street, I think
Yeah.
we pretty much give them the biggest table
One
that we
giant
have.
banquet. Yeah, that would be a pretty.
We could do that at our Waterloo branch. That one will definitely.
that
Yeah,
would-
for
Record
events there under the arch, though, you sort of do that.
Yeah.
Waterloo,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, that would be the longest table ever built, though.
So how about the story we learned this weekend about lasting relationships at Cleveland Street or Passyunk Avenue? Well, I'll tell it. A couple years back,
Yeah, I don't know what you're
Gaz and
talking
I threw a New Year's Eve party.
about. Oh, yes!
It was a house party. And it got silly, as it always does. Picklebacks were had. So this past weekend, I'm working at the Battersea branch, and a lady walks up with a little girl that I'm like, oh, she's so cute, fawning over the kid. And the woman is beaming as I'm saying this. And she said, I don't know if you remember me, but my husband and I came to your 2022-2023 New Year's Eve party at Cleveland Street. And you got us really drunk. We did a ton of picklebacks together.
No.
We stayed later while you were cleaning, and we were smashed. And 9 months later, we met this little girl.
We made a baby without actually.
Essentially, Gaz and I made a baby.
Oh, please tell me they named her Passyunk.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I wish they had. I didn't ask her name. I should have. But
we
next
guide-
time they're in,
we
I'll give them a
guide-
shout
we-
out.
That's like how Emperor Palpatine influenced the midi-chlorians to create Darth Vader.
My
If that
point
is
is that's what Cleveland Street does, or Passyunk does in general. It just garners these relationships
Yeah.
between people that
It
are
makes people-
lifelong.
It makes people have babies.
It makes people have babies.
We create life.
We
we
create
have we have gone up a level. We have become gods. Is that really, really obnoxious what I've just said?
Yeah. I was trying to find the nicest way to tell you how obnoxious that was, but you said it.
Yeah, I'm just sort of thinking, we now create life without actually doing it ourselves.
I think
we
we don't so
influence
much-
life making.
we don't so much create life as we create a safe space for all of us crazy people, all of the not norms, all of the people that just want to be themselves and talk to somebody at the
Yeah.
bar, which is something you can't really do in England. Nobody wants to talk to you in a pub.
Really?
You've tried yourself to talk to people at a
If you
pub.
saw me in a pub on my own,
I've seen you in many pubs.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, on your own. Okay,
On
go.
my own, would you like approach me and talk?
I would, but that's because I'm from Philly. And the funny thing is, most English people wouldn't talk back that I know of. You would.
That is kinda true. Still, do you think have you experienced that yourself?
I feel like my accent has people approach me more,
All right.
having an American accent. But yes, there is a bit more of a standoffishness. It's not a rudeness
Yeah.
of English. And I'll say more in London specifically. Like the further north you go, it's a little friendlier
Yeah.
here
Or south. even.
in England, or even south. Yes. But yeah, I've experienced it. Once again, I call it standoffishness, but it's not even really that. It's not rude. It's
But
just
it's
a little
not
bit of
balls
an
out
arm's
like
length.
Philly.
And
All right, I've got a question which feeds in sort of the cultural differences between the US or Philly and over here. Is like what were like the most archetypal
Sure.
archetypal
We'll give it to you.
archetypal standard when before you even came to the UK, what was the UK to you guys? What did you think it was?
Well, I
Was
guarantee
it like-
you,
was it
if you
like-
asked anybody in America to
What did
do an English accent, they'd go, "Hello, governor."
yeah,
I
they would
guarantee you.
they would talk like Oliver Twist.
Yeah, 100%.
Or like what's the other guy? The Artful Dodger.
yeah, we pretty much think there's the proper Oxbridge,
Yeah.
posh or Cockney accent.
Yeah, do
Yeah,
you think
that's
everybody?
it. Nothing in the
I
middle.
kind of get the impression that everybody thought that we all talk like the royal family.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
for the most part.
Or Cockney.
Yeah,
There's nothing in the middle.
but what about anything like food, like the culture itself? Because I think when I see a lot of Americans come over here, they're always like, well, the first thing they always seem to do now is go to the Harry Potter museum or whatever. Like everything's all about Harry Potter.
Well,
Yes.
when my niece's friend was 3 years old and met my English husband, having never met an English person before,
Yeah.
the 3-year-old looked at him and said, "I know you,
Hmm.
Harry Potter." He thought Sam was Harry Potter.
But do you think that's how? But so like on first impressions, like if you're growing up in the US, everyone you only see things through like TV and
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
so that's what they think. Do you think they get really disappointed when they meet someone like me who just talks really fast with a regional accent and is just like really?
Well, I'll
crazy?
tell you what, I went to a bit of university over here, and the reason I chose here was because I wanted to come to Europe, but I knew there wouldn't be an language barrier.
Right.
It's a completely different language that
Yeah.
you guys speak. I had to relearn English, British English.
Like what?
I don't know. Give me an English
Is
colloquialism.
it?
How about you all right?
Oh yeah.
So
I was
for,
just about,
for weeks and weeks,
You're all
people would, you're all right. And I'd be like, I'm fine. Why does everyone keep asking me that? Just means what's up. They're just asking me what's up.
Yeah.
So yeah, stuff like
Isn't that a Bill Bailey joke?
Is
Where, where it says like, you know, like the most typical British response to hi,
not too bad.
like not too bad, and it sounds really depressing.
Right.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah.
And then you get a little bit more,
Yeah.
not too
Still
bad.
breathe. Yeah.
All
not too bad.
things considered.
All things considered. Still, yeah, good. Still breathing. We are totally stealing.
So yeah,
jokes here,
it
but
is
it's
a
all good.
language, but it's a different language. It's the same language, but it's a very different language.
What about
it took
weather?
me a long time.
Do you think weather was like another one of those things where they were just like the British have bad weather, they got bad
Well,
tea?
you guys have constant autumn. We have 4 seasons in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's just always autumn here.
Whereabouts is Philadelphia? Like when you looked on a map, like to
About an hour south of New York.
okay, so like would it be
Northeast.
more, would it be
Latitude
more,
wise with London,
Yeah,
it's a good bit south.
Yeah, it's a little bit
Yeah,
south, I'd
it's a
say,
good
by the
bit south,
curve of
actually.
the earth.
yeah.
Yeah, I think. Gosh, I hope I'm not making myself look silly. Boston is.
Are
Probably,
you kidding me?
I think Boston
you
is
look
probably
si- look
closer.
at me!
But then
Latitude?
Boston snows. So it's still very different weather. They
Right.
still
Oh,
have
the
4
weather's
seasons.
absolutely
It's hot in
different.
the
Yes,
summer and it
absolutely.
I can't
snows
believe
in the
you just
winter.
said that. Oh, I don't want to look. I hope I don't sound silly.
To the man in a cape.
to the man in a PBR cape wearing sunglasses. Just talked about how I peed the bed at the Benjamin Franklin Hotel.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
But all of the things you just said are exactly why we're doing this podcast. Because
I just snort.
at
laugh.
the Yunk, I made
You
you
know that's
snort.
something I inherited from you.
That's when you know I'm laughing when I snort.
Yeah. I never
Um,
used to snort laugh until like I started not started hanging out. It took a while. It's one of those things. Like obviously, so working at Passyunk, obviously, like you know, I have picked up certain ways, like certain. Can I call them Americanisms?
How about
Like,
Yunkisms?
Yeah, Yunkisms. Well, I say trash, or I say those kind of like.
There's a point in my drunkenness that I call the continental divide where I can't figure out what language is going to come out. So I say things like trubbish. It's trash and rubbish. Yeah.
That's so good.
I can't believe you never noticed. You're going to notice now.
That's so good. I want to kind of call it.
It happens
trubbish
all
now.
the time because I can't decide. My brain skitches out for a second and I can't figure out which word is going to come out. So they both do.
But I think that's probably it as well. I think my sort of I inflect a lot more like an Americans.
You
now.
definitely do. You
Definitely do.
You
yeah.
say a lot of American
I
things.
think my accent has kind of gone a little bit. I'm going to say it again. Gone a bit west because of like But that's just because I hang around with you all.
But
the
it's also
time,
this
really.
place. This place is just so all encompassing. Every
Yeah.
second that you're here, you're taking on a bit more of our culture.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
I actually think I got louder since working in this place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Definitely.
well, again, this place is a haven for anybody who wants to be friends
yeah. Or themselves.
or completely themselves.
You can-
And that's why we chose the Yunk Life, right?
that is why.
Well, we
this
didn't
is
choose the Yunk Life.
No, the Yunk Life chose us. Did I get it right this time?
Kind of. Say
I'm
the
gonna
whole thing.
burp.
You can burp if you want.
No, it's gone. Come back down now.
Say the line.
No, because I didn't choose the Yunk Life. The Yunk Life chose me.
Perfect.
Woo!
There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Wait, hang on. Where are we on the beat sheet?
I mean, we talked about everything we planned on talking
Have we?
about.
Well, let's just keep talking. How long have we been talking for? Yeah? You can
A
say it out
while.
loud, dude.
Longer than you think.
Yeah?
Yeah. I know that's a shot.
Have we really?
Yeah.
How long have we been talking for?
I think we're gonna roll in a little over a half hour right now with the
Oh,
episode
that's
so far.
fine. Well,
Yeah, give
that's
or
what
take.
happens when you drink
That's
water.
our target. It's a half hour.
That's
Sometimes
what
less,
happens
sometimes
when
more.
But when you drink water with no other help.
Hey, first episode. I think we've done a good job so far.
Yeah.
There.
Well, let's just keep talking. Let's just keep rolling, man. Let's just keep going. Like I'm having fun. Okay, right. So I'll rewind it a little bit then.
I don't think you need to.
No.
I think that was
But like if it's just sort of like I think it would be cool just to sort of say like, look, this is the first time we've ever done this, right?
Yeah.
It's the first time. This is our first podcast. We're still trying to figure it out as we go along, but it is essentially, it is what it is. So if y'all
Honestly,
like it, you need to subscribe. I don't know. I need to fix that on the website.
We do need to do that,
Yeah,
actually.
we do need to have a subscription button.
Yeah.
But
Also-
y'all need to follow y'all. There's another one that I got from you guys.
Yeah, that's not really.
That's not
good.
even
No.
Philly.
That's-
So you
Yeah.
guys need to follow us, support us, and if you want to be a guest on here, you got to be interesting. If there's anybody else out there that's had bladder control problems at really expensive hotels,
Come on,
you know
now.
where to find me.
I think the long and short of it is, if you want to be part of the Yunk Life, follow us on every platform you can find us. And if you have any questions about gases and incontinence, leave it in the comments and we'll see what we can do for you.
Yeah, not just my incontinence though. Like, we definitely want questions all encompassing.
Just for the sake of an ending,
Yeah.
let's do a cheers
Yeah.
to the Yunk Life.
Cheers to the Yunk Life.
Cheers to the Yunk Life.
Cheers to the Yunk Life. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you,
Cheers, Stub.
Stub, our producer.
Pod, it's that Yunk Life pod. It's that Yunk Life pod. That Yunk Life pod. That Yunk Life pod. That Yunk Life pod. Living that Yunk Life, baby.
What a lovely, 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 lovely title that is. I could have kept that going on for ages.
I know.
Yeah.
I was just going to yell, go birds. Go birds!
Go birds!
Go birds! All right.
I thought that was pretty good.
Fucking hell.